Good afternoon. This is Jeannie Sweeney from the Above Board Chamber. We are so excited to have you with us today. Really excited about this topic, and I think it's a topic that everyone needs at this time. It's the voices of hope and reason for 2021. And we have a heck of a panel of experts that can talk about hopes and reasons and good things, and they are going to share some wonderful things that are going on in Southwest Florida that will be going on in 2021 to give us some hope for the future. So we are very excited about it. We have a lot of things going on with the Above Board Chamber that we're excited about. And just to let you know, if you're here for the first time, we do a lot of things with our members. First of all, we do webinars. We've been doing webinars since April nonstop. So we want to make sure our members and our guests that come on our Zoom programs get information that can make their businesses better, so they can learn things, so they can feel some hope and they can grow in their business no matter what is going on outside of our doors. Some of the things that we have for our members that are absolutely free, that are benefits right now, are on our website, which is phenomenal. We love our website. It was done by Comric PR and Marketing, Mr. Javier Fuller, who is helping with this webinar today. If you remember, you can put a lot of things up. You can put press releases up for free. You can put blogs up for free, and you can put upcoming events. Those things are important for our members to get their information out. We want to make sure that they get things out so their people can know that they exist and they're doing great things in the community. One of the things that we're doing right now, we're very, very excited about, and I am very excited about it, is we are having our members our business members are adopting our nonprofits for Christmas. And it's a holiday Christmas wish party. And some of the things I'm just going to go over really fast. Some of the wishes that came true are amazing for our businesses, and especially our nonprofits, which are getting these wonderful wishes granted. One of them is Susie Thompson from Lady in Pink Photography, did all the headshot for Keep Lee County Beautiful. We are so excited about that. Scott Lehman, he's the president of TJS, Janitor and Floor Care. He went to Pace Center for Girls in Naples, and they are cleaning and sanitizing the whole facility. That means the school for the kids when they come back after the holidays, and for the offices as well. So thank you, Scott. Another one is Joseph DeSantis, one of our members. Blessings in a Backpack. They needed a colored printer, and they were having a hard time. They needed this printer, and thank God for Joseph. He gave them a brand new printer. So thank you, Joseph. Brian Chapman helped our very own favorite lady from Four Words Foundation and got her a brand new iPad so she can help with people in the community. Michael Wynn, who you're going to see today, if you don't know Michael Wynn, he's the president of Sunshine Ace Hardware. Well, he actually did 2 wishes. And I'm telling you, my eyes were teary yesterday because I was so excited. He did 1 wish for Gulf Shore Opera, and what they needed is they travel all over with their cast, and they sing and they do skits all over Southwest Florida. And because of the virus, they were unable to do things. Well, he is bringing out plexiglass shields that's going to help them and separate them from people watching the show, so people will still stay safe and get to enjoy a phenomenal show by Gulf Shore Opera. Thank you, Michael. The other thing he's doing, he jumped on it as well, is Sunshine Ace Hardware is also helping Sunshine Kids Foundation. I think they're related now. They needed paint, that special paint that you put on the walls that kids can draw on, and they allow them to do it. Michael at Sunshine Ace Hardware is donating that. So Michael, thank you for that. Mindy McCross is a wonderful CPA in our chamber, and she is granting a wonderful wish for Sunshine Kids also. She is getting them a little refrigerator for their office. They're moving into their new office this week. So thank you, Mindy. And the last but not least is Sue Ryan, CEO of Sue Ryan Solution. She granted a great wish for Charity for Change, and she's given them paper and ink. Those things are expensive for a nonprofit organization. So that's just some of the people that are granting wishes, and we cannot thank them enough. If you would like to be part of that program, please give me a call at 239-910-7426, and you too can be a wish granter. I also want to say that one of the things that we do at the Above Board Chamber for this meetings, if we bring up a nonprofit and they tell us a little bit about themselves, we call them our featured nonprofit. This month, Sue Huff of East Sue Huff and Associate has sponsored Miss Penny Penny, can you tell us a little bit about your wonderful organization, Miracle in Action, and what you're doing for people to help them raise money and make their lives better?
Absolutely. I'd love to tell you about it. Well, it's been a tough year for all charities, but our charity has had a hit in Guatemala, a double hit with 2 hurricanes that came in. And we help the people that live there, including our artisans. We help ladies like this who can do beading in their homes and sell jewelry, and we sell all their jewelry. And in the past, we've sold it through arts and craft fair, farmers markets, presentations at luncheons, at country clubs. And of course, those are all not happening. But everybody's shopping online. So we set up a new site. It's a beyondbeads.org site, and it's got all kinds of beautiful jewelry. We hired a model, and she's demonstrating this beautiful jewelry. We're selling all kinds of little ornaments, cute little things, all kinds of things that you can buy as Christmas gifts. And this week, we're going to offer a sale for Above Board Chamber. You can go in at above 20 as our promo code and get a discount. Send the site out, become friends with us on Facebook, and make a difference with your shopping this holiday season. We even have things like, we invented this. It's a lanyard to hold your mask. You don't have to go around looking for your mask. It's right there around your neck. I use these all the time and you can too. So please go to our site. We would also like to share with you that you're helping these artisans to be able to feed their children. And you can make a donation for a solar lamp for an artisan, a water filter, and that's all on that website. One final thing, we're looking for a storefront. So if anyone knows a great location for a storefront, we're all ears. And we would like to be able to bring these products to everyone. Oh, I got my timer going. I'm out of time, so I will let it go, and let me know if you know of a storefront that can sell jewelry.
Penny, tell us the website. We need to know the website.
It's beyondbeads.org.
Okay. And if there is there a way that they can get a hold of you? You got an email or anything?
Yes, it's penny@miraclesinaction.org.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for Sue Huff, Sue Huff and Associate, for sponsoring you, and thank you for what you do for people. We love to meet our nonprofits with the Above Board Chamber, and just like we're in awe of the wonderful things you do around the world and within our country. So thank you very, very much for being part of our program today.
And thank you for the time. Appreciate it. Go shopping.
Doesn't take much for me to do that. Now, I just want to tell everybody we have a lot of our attendees that are starting to show up. If you do have questions down on the bottom, you can, there's a place down there where you can put your questions. You have any questions for me or anybody else? It's an icon, it's green. And you put your questions in there that I will ask the panelists. So we want to make sure we're getting the right information for you. I am very excited with this panelist. You got to understand Jeannie Sweeney's love for her executive committee. They're my executive council, and these people have been with me for many years, and they help so much with the Above Board Chamber. So if I need advice and I need something, anything whatsoever, I can call any of them up at any time. And they actually answer the phone in their busy schedules, and they say, what can we help you with? So these are 4 of my favorite people in the whole wide world. So I am looking forward to learning more from them like I do every day, but I get to share them with each one of you today. So I'm going to ask each one of them to say hello, tell us what they do. And then when we finish with that, then we'll start our questions. Michael, tell us about you. Michael's the president of Sunshine Ace Hardware. What are you doing?
Yes, well, again, we have everything that you need to sanitize, stay safe through the pandemic, and as you're spending more time at home, to catch up on all those home improvement projects to make your living space more comfortable. So come in, let our knowledgeable associates help you, and look forward to seeing you shopping local. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Do you have a lot of sales going on over there? We need to know that.
We've got a lot of specials for the Christmas selling season. So a lot of great gift ideas. Check out our website for our flyer, sunshineace.com, or come in and just let any one of our associates know what you're looking for and who that special someone is. and they'll take you right to any one of our 50,000 unique items that we can find something for just about anybody.
That's a lot of items. Do you have Christmas trees?
We still, I think, have some artificial trees,
Okay.
but I will tell you, the supply was limited this year. So if you haven't bought those yet, get in now while we still have some limited supplies.
Great. Thanks, Michael. And thank you for what you do. The next person is my buddy, is Vicky Tracy. Vicky Tracy is, if you don't know her, then you have not been outside. I mean, before this year. She's the Chief Operation Officer at Gulf Coast International Properties, and she is a rock star. And Vicky, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Well, I can tell you that me and my business have recently shopped at Sunshine Ace Hardware, where I tabletop trees that decorate our office. So there are a lot of things there, and I really appreciate what Michael and certainly Theo and Ursula do in our town. But we at Gulf Coast International Properties are also locally owned and operated. We're a boutique firm. We're extremely busy. Our firm just happens to be #1 in the luxury market again this year, thanks to Tim Savage, the owner. And for those of you who don't know, we're going to talk about what the real estate market is doing, certainly on the luxury side, but our new motto is "We live here." And you'll hear a little bit more in our presentation today about what that means in real estate. And Jeannie, like all of us, I just want to thank you for continuing to move forward through some difficult times and keeping your members engaged. I know that the members appreciate it, and I can tell you, as your biggest fans on this panel, we appreciate the communication. So thank you for doing this today.
Thank you. Thank you for being part of it. Theo, everybody knows we all love Theo. I love him every day when it's hot out, even more because I have the best air conditioning in the whole world from conditioned air.
Well,
But
thank you.
Theo, before you talk, I was going to say, you have this piece that you can put inside the air condition that people can buy, and you can buy it as a Christmas present, I guess, for somebody too. And that could kill the germs in the house. Is that correct? It's an ultraviolet light or something?
It is. There are a number of different things that are available for indoor air quality to increase filtration and ultraviolet light. Ultraviolet light has been used for years and years in hospitals and does have germ and bacterial killing abilities. We make no claims, and no manufacturer makes any claims about specifically to COVID or coronavirus, but no doubt that it does improve the indoor air quality. And so, yes, we've had significant increase in interest in air conditioning and the health of the system and keeping it cleaner and everything. And we're headed into our 59th year here in Southwest Florida. So in 2021, and we're looking forward to 2021. And that's probably one of the things we're going to talk about today is the reasons for some of that optimism and hope and all. But again, I'll tag team with Vicky and thank you for all that you do, Jeannie, and putting things on for the community and reaching out and serving others. It's a great example to set.
Thank you very much. Now for our other favorite lady in the Naples area. And if you're talking about buying Christmas presents or holiday presents, she could be your best friend. Ursula, tell us a little bit about you. She's the business development director. Vice president of business development. I'm reading it backwards at Bingham Jewelry. So Ursula, tell us what's going on at our favorite jewelry store there.
Well, thank you, Jeannie and friends. It's a pleasure to work with this group, and one of my favorite things. Jeannie, thank you for getting us together. Especially, Vicky is our next door neighbor here in the building. Theo is providing our air conditioning and keeping us cool and comfortable and our customers happy and the staff happy. And Michael is the source of many treats, that favorite treats people request. So it's like a little hub. And again, Jeannie, thank you for all you do and for bringing us together. Yes, Bingham Jewelers is very busy. This is in fact why I'm in a little bit of an unusual location. We have a international trunk show going on today. private only because of COVID. It's not widely advertised as usual. Italian house Picchiotti has brought all their precious colored stones. And yes, we are encouraging Christmas shopping. And we are very happy and thankful to see that as people's activities in other areas are limited, such as travel, they, as many of you will probably also have seen, Vicky in the real estate area and Michael in the home remodeling, people have found other ways to try and find joy in life and keep themselves busy. And we're happy that Big and Jewelers is in that group. So thank you for inviting me to be part of the group today.
Ursula, are your hours changed during the holidays?
No, they have not.
Okay.
We are back to normal. We have been back to normal hours for summer hours since May, and for regular fall season hours, which means 6 days a week since October.
Okay, so what time do they open and what time do they close?
Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 5:30, and Saturday 10 to 5.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being.
And I'm happy to say most of us are working 6 days lately.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you got that Sunday to rest.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited now. We have a lot of wonderful questions. And as I mentioned, if you have questions, go down to the Q&A down the bottom and put your questions, and we will try to get to as many as we possibly can. First question is for Michael. Michael, many have been challenged with their business or on their job. What hopes do you see in the economic projection for the future?
Okay, well, thank you. I'll take it, start nationally, then go kind of state and local, and just kind of share some positive news that I see. One, we got to remember this was not the usual economic downturn. Disposable income in the U.S. actually has increased during the pandemic. So with the stimulus checks, with unemployment benefits, all of that has resulted in disposable income going up. So as things return to normal, consumers are not going to be pulling themselves out of the debt and hard times that we've seen in the past downturns. Not that there isn't hardship, but it's just not like those past recessions that we've seen. Another stat that kind of underscores this is the savings rate. Consumers have actually accumulated almost $2 trillion in additional savings since the start of the pandemic. So when things again return to quote unquote normal, people are going to have a large quiver of disposable income and cash to unleash in spending in your businesses and services, etc. The other thing too is as you cut through kind of all the noise of the news and negativity, retail sales are a good indicator of consumer confidence, and retail sales for the third quarter were actually up 3.6% over the same quarter in 2019. And in retail, 3.6% is a good number. And we have economists that are actually projecting a 6% increase in retail sales next year, which is the highest forecast that I've seen. Some of that's due to slightly softer numbers in 2020, but overall, again, very strong indicators for next year. Also, GDP is projected to return to pre-COVID levels by mid-22. That's a year earlier than some of the earlier projections. And we're already to early 2018 numbers. And then something else that I think just needs to continue to be emphasized is that the Federal Reserve is essentially committed to keeping the Fed funds rate at zero for the next 2 years. Basically means that we're going to have record low interest rates for homeowners to refi, and to buy homes, et cetera. And that's going to impact the Southwest Florida economy. It's going to impact the stock market. So they're committed to a full recovery and making sure they do everything they can. On the state level, go to the floridascorecard.org website. If you haven't been there before, on that website, it shows a number of important stats surrounding the health of Florida as a state: education, business, climate, economy, etc. And there's a stat on there called wealth migration. And that actually tracks the amount of adjusted gross income that Florida gains or loses each hour from people migrating into and out of the state. And that right now is at $1.19 million per hour for the state. So there are a ton of people moving into the state of Florida, and they're bringing a lot of wealth from other states. The other thing too is unemployment. I think it was 11.5% during the Great Recession at its peak. Took 3.5 years to get to 6.5%. In April of this year, the unemployment rate was at 13.5. It's down to 6.5 for the state, 5.1 for Collier County's unemployment rate. And then I'll let Vicky go in later and talk about some of the real estate numbers. But again, the number of closed homes, median home price increases are all very positive. And again, that's just some of the highlights. So I'm not here talking forever, but there's a lot of good news out there for the next year for us to look forward to.
You know, something I'd add on to, Michael, is that I read a pretty comprehensive survey of large corporate CFOs and their sort of take on 2021 and what they saw. And while they have some short-term, heartburn over the spike in COVID cases right now, their outlook for 2021 is increased CapEx spending, increased revenues, budgetary increases. So 2/3 of them were extremely positive and had already begun budgeting for more investment in their companies in capital expenditures. So momentum starting to build even into 2021, which obviously affects a lot of people that serve that, those buildings and industries and factories and such.
Excellent. Great information, gentlemen. Vicky, to stay in that line, can you give us an update on the real estate market and who is looking to buy and sell? What's going on, Vicky? Let's stay there for a moment.
Well, there's a couple of statistics similar to Michael's, and one's on your screen right now. This is reported by NABOR, the Naples Area Board of Realtors. Thank you, Javier. We're at an all-time low in inventory. And as Michael stated about the type and the dispensing of discretionary income, inventory is extremely low across Naples, especially in the luxury market because of the influx of states, primarily tax states. Yes, COVID did have something to do with it, but the trajectory of people coming here from the tax laden states just really quadrupled during this time. And so you can see our overall inventory in the Naples market is down. You can see the overall pending sales is up by 73%. And what does that tell us? That there is a robust market happening in this sector of the real estate. The median close pricing is up. When you have a down in inventory, the prices go up. So it's a seller's market right now. And look at the closed sales, up by 65%. That's huge. The days on the market are very low, down by 12%. So that means things are moving quick. Look at the condo market. So think of yourself being from Connecticut, Boston, and an influx of California. So people that have discretionary income that Michael related to, this is pretty big for our town. And not only are they coming with cash in our areas, and definitely it affects the luxury market, but the middle market as well. So if you haven't been, regardless of what your personal opinions are about the political market, people are coming to wonderful Naples, Florida, and they're spending money. Look at the sold single family homes up almost 50%, condos up 70%. So that market is thriving right now. The other market that's not reflected on this slide is the rental market. So there is a great need for a variety of rentals, not only seasonal. So people that are building, the new construction is up. They're looking to come and see what it's like in Naples. And that's a big market right now. So I will say to your listening audience, if anybody has anything, they just want to test the market or they want to see what's really happening in their price point, call or email me and we'll get you some statistics. And rentals, there is a tremendous shortage of seasonal rentals for the high end, particularly in Naples, Florida. So giving Michael a hard time is what I'm used to doing. If you have anything in the city of Naples that you think might be worthy, please let us know. And thank you for putting the slide up, Javier.
Vicky, what email do you want them to send?
Well, they could send to you since everybody knows you, but I'm Vicky, VICKI at GCIPNaples.com.
Okay, perfect. That was great. That was great synergy with the three is. So thank you so much for bringing that all together. Now we have Ursula. Ursula, how do hope and reason relate, or do they?
Well, I was happy to hear all that great factual news, which is what we really, really need to be aware of, especially since what we have all experienced was a little bit a body blow to our system.
Mm-hmm.
And it had an original numbing effect and sent us all scrambling for answers. And hope is a feeling of hoping, of looking for change, positive change.
Mm-hmm.
And when we stop and get a grip, so to speak, we realize that there are things that we actually can do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when reason sets in. One of the things we also need to keep in mind as we hear all these positive news, there is a broad segment of the population that is struggling, still struggling.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I hear that the number of homeless is up, that the number of people seeking assistance for food insecurity is up dramatically. As we have seen from the wish list, the Harry Chapin Food Bank is giving out thousands of meals and is asking for assistance. So there is a message for this population also to say the good things that are happening will and can affect you as well. And there are things that can be done to move to a better place.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we need to do that. I always say it at all of our meetings at the Above Board Chamber, when God brings us into this world, he gives us gifts. And they're not gifts until we give them away. This is a perfect time to go out, and maybe you don't have money to give somebody, to buy them something, or to just give them cash, but you can give them your time. And if you can't go out of the house, you can pick up the phone and make phone calls for people that need help. There are so many things that we can do in our community to help make a difference. So Ursula, thank you so much for that. Theo, what causes you to have hope for the future?
Several things, actually. I think first and foremost, my faith. I'm called to, look at faith as the hope of things to come and the belief in things unseen. And that, I just look back on so many generations. And almost internally, I kind of feel like it would be almost insulting to the generations that have come before us for hundreds of years, thousands of years, really, that have put up with and gotten through absolutely traumatic, horrendous experiences, times. And we owe it to the people that blazed all those trails before us and hung in there to hang in there for future generations. We need to set that example that people will prevail, good will prevail over bad. One of my favorite things to listen to is gospel music. I love gospel music. Actually, if I narrowed it down, it would be Southern gospel music and 4-part harmony and tight chords and all that. And one of the lines in one of the songs is, I'm not in a valley, I'm just changing mountaintops. And I think that's part of what we need to think about is there is a mountaintop that we're headed towards. And whether it's in 2021 or 22 or 23 or how it goes. And yes, we find ourselves down in a valley every now and then because you won't be on a mountaintop 100% of the time, either personally or as a society in cases. But you always have to think about that next mountaintop, and it's a process and a progress. And so you're always climbing to the next mountaintop. And I just think that it is important that we keep that positive outlook and go forward. I have been guilty in the past, and I think Michael was at a presentation where we learned this. But a speaker that I listened to coined a phrase called catastrophizing. And we're guilty. I know I've done it in the past. Something occurs in your day or your life or in your business or wherever that is, and you instantly mentally start to push the dominoes down in a negative path. And you say, oh, if this happened, then this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. It's going to be terrible. It's awful. And most all of the time, that never comes to pass.
Yeah.
Never comes to pass. And so I think people have to be very careful not to catastrophize events that come along and give that body blow. And as Ursula said, that is where reason comes in, so that we're not in a panic, but we apply reason and take a breath and look for how do we make this, even if it's small steps, how do we small step in a better direction?
Absolutely. That is wonderful advice. You know, it's even as simple as sometimes when somebody sends you something or says something to you and it makes you a little bit like, ooh, I don't respond. I do nothing for 24, 48 hours. And I've learned if you do that, it isn't as bad as it was 24, 48 hours prior. So it sort of goes away. And I think we're learning a lot of lessons. You know, we're learning a lot of lessons about ourselves. So Theo, thank you very much.
Might I just add something?
Absolutely.
There is one quote that always sticks in my mind, especially when something unfortunate is happening. And that is Thomas Paine's, "These are the times that try men's souls." And as I looked it up a little bit more specifically, I realized that it was just 224 years ago in December that he wrote this as part of the American crisis. And so I think it's, as to Theo's point, this is not something unique. Well, it is unique to us, but it's not unique in the history of humankind. And as other generations have weathered the storm, so will we.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? We will carry on. So I'm going to carry on here with Michael. Michael, we are living in a period of uncertainty, that's for sure. Whether it's political, unrest, COVID, hurricanes. What advice do you have for leaders that can help them navigate through these challenges?
Yeah, so I've been sharing an acronym with my team that I think accurately conveys kind of the environment that we find ourselves in. It goes beyond COVID. You know, again, you touched on natural disasters, political unrest. These conditions aren't temporary. So the acronym is Vuca. And so we are living in a period of Vuca, and we have to adapt. That stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And so I have a chart that I shared with Jeannie that I think she'll share with the recap of today's call. But I'll just go through a quick overview of kind of why that acronym I think is helpful. And the chart actually kind of maps, you know, that VUCA, you know, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity to the higher level of kind of performance behaviors that we should be taking each of these and aspiring to, which is vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. So let's first take volatility. We have to dispel the notion that next year is going to be different. You know, people keep looking at volatility and they think, well, I'll deal with this when things return to normal. Well, what's normal anymore, right? We need to take that volatility, we need to turn it to vision, more self-reflection, brainstorming on how we're going to approach the new reality from a higher level. Then uncertainty. People see all the uncertainty around them, they become paralyzed. They kind of overanalyze everything. So we have to take that uncertainty and we have to seek understanding. That requires us to engage with others. It requires us to reflect on new learnings and kind of what we can attain to create that new path forward. Then you take complexity. Well, there are no easy answers anymore in front of us, right? And based on that complexity, it can lead to us being defensive, blaming others for our situation or why our business isn't doing better, whatever it might be. But we need to take that complexity and then seek clarity. And then that clarity is found by really kind of documenting our plans for change, our plans for action, researching like we're doing today, talking about real facts versus kind of opinions and all the changes that are happening around us. And then finally, ambiguity. The future has probably never been more unclear in a lot of different ways, and things are always constantly shifting, and that can create self-doubt, can make us hesitant to take action, and limit our willingness to actually collaborate with others because frankly, we may be kind of insecure given the fact that we don't maybe feel as confident as we did in the past. That's where we have to lean into being more agile and having that ability to shift on the fly. So Jeannie, I'll encourage you to share that matrix. That's kind of a high level view, but that's really resonated with our leadership and helping us to kind of adapt to a higher level of thinking and stop thinking about all this uncertainty and volatility as temporary, but rather adapt to a new way of thinking to embrace all the uncertainty around us.
That's excellent, Michael. I will make sure that it goes out when we send out the video so everybody gets to look at it and they can look at it as they're listening to it as well. So thank you very much for that. That was very good information. Vicky, let's change the subject a little bit and we're going to talk about jobs. What steps should a person that is trying to reinvent themselves take when they're looking for a job? What do you suggest?
I think this flows in with exactly what Michael is saying when you're talking about reinvent yourself. And the above board chamber has members and companies such as Sue Ryan and those types of companies. And I know Joe DeCiano does this as well. When you're thinking about adapting to a new way of thinking, as Michael thinks, there are jobs out there. And I know, especially in the hospitality industry, that was hit so hard. And when we're talking today about hope, there are jobs out there, and when you're down in the gutter and you don't feel like there's anywhere up, for those of us with faith-based, we know that what is up to us, and certainly turning to God for a peace. But maybe this is the time to reinvent yourself. So I'm going to use the nonprofit sector for 1 second about jobs. There are jobs in nonprofit. The Association of Fundraising Professionals, which I know is involved with the chamber a little bit here. They have a site that there's all kinds of jobs. So maybe you are somebody that was in the hospitality industry that may not have hope, but you have great people skills or great database skills. And I think going through the process of reinventing yourself, especially when you're down and out, you can't think of yourself in another way. But one of the things I love about the above board chamber is that you have a bunch of people and professionals that want to help and they want to share. I mean, look at Theo Edsel, good grief. Anytime somebody asks him for help, he's right there. There are jobs here in Collier County, and the not-for-profit area that is struggling does have areas that they are looking for those reinventors. Also, the senior living industry, most of you know I'm passionate about that industry. They are at such a shortage right now. And I mean, all of the fun, wonderful communities that are in our area, Moorings Park, Bentley Village, the Arlington, Carlisle, many are members of the above board. Think outside the box, not having a job and maybe reinventing yourself, but there are jobs out there. Real estate industry has jobs, and you don't need to sell real estate to be in that industry. I saw on Fifth Avenue and 3rd Street signs now hiring. It is season, even though we experience some things, there are jobs out there. And I think, Jeannie, as a service, certainly you create those positions online at the Above Board Chamber, but those are just a couple areas. The hospital, Artist Naples, they're out there, but when you're overwhelmed and feeling like I don't even know how to look up, where do I start? Maybe we talk about the Michael, the Vuca with other people and say, how do we help our members in our community?
Yeah.
Things different, point them in the right direction where there are some jobs and training, because they're out there and they exist, and many of them are good paying jobs. So maybe we help guide on your website where we know these other sites are.
Yeah. One of the things that we're doing at the Above Board Chamber, we send out very often, a couple times a month, a newsletter. And I cannot tell you how many jobs I get sent to me in Lee County and Cuyler County. I mean, ridiculous amount of jobs. And we try to take them and put them in the newsletter so people can click on them and get their name going. Another thing people can do is put it up on LinkedIn and stuff like that. You put your name on LinkedIn, you're looking for a job, and they're going to be on you like white on rice. There are so many people looking for jobs. And as we've been discussing about, people are frozen right now. They don't know how to get themselves out of their box that they're in right now. But hopefully this meeting, this webinar will show them that there's people that care and there's opportunities out there that we can spread out and help people in those situations. Ursula, you are next. What is the business leader's role in encouraging hope within an organization?
Okay, may I add a little bit on
Yes,
to
you may.
what I just said before? I agree with the availability of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I see, for example, even in some of the very highly sought after websites, such as Indeed, Hotwire, and what have you, they go by very narrow categorizations. And that flies in the face of the agility that we talked about as a need for a new mindset. When a job seeker looks for a position that is based on what he or she has done before and that job title, I would want to suggest that the approach becomes a little different. For example, add at your, I would even suggest a different resume. Add at your resume your skills, not the position, the skills. And one of the set of skills that is seriously in demand is computer and technology skills. So such as, Excel, certainly the Microsoft Office suite is a must. If somebody is in need of updating, there are YouTube seminars, there are free tutorials or tutorials at different levels of skill at a very, very low price. All of these skills are in high demand, but data skills today are a must. And I would just particularly recommend this to some of the older job seekers. Do train yourself, retrain yourself in the acquisition of data skills. And then your life experience, your job experience will tell the story. Another very, very important quality is willingness to learn and adaptability, which is another word for agility. Transitions are possible. The transference of skills is possible. And I would definitely just suggest that people rethink where they have been and where they want to go.
Mm-hmm. Your question, what is the business leader's role in encouraging hope within the organization?
I love that question because one of the things that struck me as I was living through the past months was that somehow I was looking for our national leadership for guidance, for clarity. Give me something to hold on to. I was looking outside of myself until I realized that's not really a possibility. And then it became thinking backwards. I said, what does a business leader need to do? And of course, having lived through our own business. And one of the things, first of all, is for the business leader not to panic. but to plant the feet firmly on the ground and say, what do we need to do? To look at the business and to start thinking a little critically. What are my must-haves? What are my nice-to-haves? And who is with me in these different categories? What do I need to accomplish? What do I need to do to survive? What do I need to do to improve? And start looking at the situation as an opportunity to rethink, to retool, to retrain, to basically turn over a new leaf. And some very specific things, are to be very clear with the employees, with the team, to be a clarifier, but also a comforter, to make sure you check in with people almost on a daily basis. How are you doing today? How is it going? Do you need anything? And really enable people towards the new goals that you're setting.
Excellent. Theo, you have a question that's similar to that. So I'm going to say the question. I'm going to ask you if you want to add to what Ursula said, or
Okay.
are you fine with that? And we can go on. So the question would be, why is hope important as an individual and a leader? Do you want to tag on that, or you want?
I would add. I would just add on Ursula. I think she
Okay.
had tremendous points on what that is. But I would also add then that I do think it is the responsibility of a leader to give the team inspiration, and inspiration comes from a hopeful and optimistic outlook. Even if you have to tell people that you're going to face a tough time here in the short run, they have to know that there's a long-term goal.
Yeah.
And because quite frankly, people can, I think, relate to this. I mean, hope and optimism get you out of bed in the morning, and the worst feeling that you can have, and sadly there are people that suffer from depression and things like that, but when you start to feel hopeless, it is a real energy drain, and your motivation is really, really sapped. And so individually, you have, as a leader, you have to get yourself up and hold yourself up, but you have to hold yourself up and then some, and then the team, and they have to see that, and they have to believe it. And Ursula is correct when she said you have to be transparent, and really you have to be convicted that that is the truth, and we're going to make it through, and we can do this as a team. And to the agility side, yes, we have to change what we're doing, how we're doing it, based on customers or based on rules. Some change is forced upon us, some change we can make, and it can be self-directed and self-envisioned. But you have to continue to be a positive voice, because there's so much negative news that's projected all the time, right? Because that basically is what makes news today. And it's a 24/7 news cycle, and it comes in from all directions. So you have to fight that. And to fight that, you have to be that voice of hope. And Ursula was correct when she's balancing hope and reason, because hope without reason is kind of a fantasy. And people won't buy into just a pure fantasy if they don't believe that it's attainable or achievable, or that we can get through. So there is a bit of reality that you have to put with that through reason. But that's where I see that it's important, very important.
Theo, you're an excellent leader in our community, and we all appreciate it, and all of us look up to you, what you have accomplished. And to me, it's just a wonderful thing, and I think it's so important that we make people feel like they're not alone. And as a leader of companies, you sort of got to find those people that are diamonds in your companies, but they're invisible. And as leaders, and if you make your employees visible, they feel like they're part of a team instead of on an island by themselves. And I know you do that well. I know all four of you do that really well for all your employees, which are each one of you take charge of in your everyday work. And I personally can't thank you enough for what all four of you do. So thank you for those answers. Michael, you have the next. Let me see where my question is here. Michael, you're on the board of NCH. Can you share any update that would be cause of hope as we look to a potential surge around the holidays and the vaccine distribution? What can you share with us, Michael?
Well, I think first it's important just to remember that if you have any other illness, heart issues, anything like that, that you should feel confident to come to any of the NCH facilities. It is safe. You don't want to be one of those that has other complications because you've delayed necessary treatment. And to kind of back that up and to give everybody confidence, and absolutely, it ties in with our theme of hope, is that to date, after having thousands of COVID positive patient interactions with the medical staff there, over 40,000 tests administered, there's only been 2 employees that have tested positive from workplace exposure. One was at the beginning when they didn't even have some of their more stringent PPE protocols, and one was a non-compliance issue. So, but more notably, there have been 0 patient-to-patient COVID-19 transmissions. Because of all the protocols and safety measures that have been taken there. So it is absolutely safe to seek treatment. Second, that NCH is going to be one of the distribution centers in Southwest Florida for the vaccine. They already have the large capacity freezers in place that are capable of having the negative 60-degree Fahrenheit temperatures to store the vaccine. There is going to be, obviously, as you would expect, strict allocation and distribution of the vaccine. So that's closely monitored through the state and the federal government. Frontline workers will obviously be first, but they've even stratified that more. So it's, critical care medical workers and critical care workers that are 55 and over with underlying health conditions. So as fast as the vaccine is distributed, they'll expand that stratification, but that's kind of where they're going to be starting. And if the FDA approves the vaccine as scheduled, NCH, again, for the limited distribution to start with, but NCH could receive their first shipment of the vaccine the week of Christmas.
Wow.
So that's good news. Also, something else to be very positive about is, again, the longer this time period extends that we're dealing with COVID, science is coming a long way. So the length of stay for COVID patients continues to come down. The severity of the symptoms is reduced as they use convalescent plasma, remdesivir as a drug and treatment. And also NCH gets a limited allocation, as all healthcare facilities do, or at least those that get a limited allocation of cutting edge treatments like Regeneron. And if I'm saying this right, it's a monoclonal antibody. That was some of the cocktail that President Trump received. But NCH has, some of that on hand in limited supply. That allows them to sometimes treat mid-level symptoms before you're admitted. So, again, there are a lot of positive things going on that front. Not just the vaccine, but also the treatments. And we should be very happy and confident that NCH has kind of been on the leading edge of these treatments for COVID and helping, keep our community safe.
Well, kudos to NCH. I mean, that is fantastic news, and that's the kind of news we need to hear, and keep us abreast of what's going on there, because that is really, really good. So thank you. Vicky, you have the next question. We're going to jump back into the jobs. What job opportunities are in Southwest Florida? You already gave us a lot of them. Okay, here's one. What type of person should I call to help me find a job?
Well, if you're on this nice panel that Jeannie set up, call me. I'll give you the list I have, and if we can help you, we'll help you. And I think that's certainly everybody's philosophy. If we can help you, we will. So let's start there. And if I don't have an answer or have a resource, we'll find someone who does.
That's great. Michael, are you hiring? Theo, are you hiring? Ursula, are you hiring?
Yes.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah.
Who's
We have
hiring?
open positions, absolutely.
Yep.
You have a
Absolutely.
lot of positions.
Yeah.
Michael, what kind of positions do you have?
We have a variety of positions from frontline associates, cashiers, B2B, outside sales positions. So, pretty broad, assortment.
Great. Theo, what do you have? What opportunities? do you
Obviously,
have?
we continue to recruit for service personnel and installation personnel. On the front side of that, we have, I believe, a marketing position that's open.
Mhm.
I believe we have an estimator position that's open, or commercial sales position that looks at business to business type things. So yeah, we always have an active job listing on our website.
Great. What is your website?
Conditionedair.com.
That's a good one. That's a good easy. And Michael, what's your website?
It is www.sunshineace.com.
Good, good. Ursula, are they hiring over there?
Yes, yes, we are. We're looking for people that are qualified in jewelry and watch sales
Uh-huh.
and accounting/bookkeeping. Does not need to be CPA, but
Mhm.
those are the two positions we're looking for right now.
Okay.
Ursula, you mentioned something earlier that Ursula has been a longtime friend and mentor to me, and really she's so smart. One of the things you mentioned was about the keywords in something like LinkedIn. And I want to just tell you how right on that is. So if you have been, fill in the blank for most of your life, and you're going to look for some other position, and those keywords like Michael mentioned, Theo, there's jobs out there.
Mhm.
So we do a reverse thinking on this. Start by posting them on Jeannie's website and then guiding the people back. But there are jobs here, and in Lee County, I have a list of 4 jobs in Lee County. I don't know why they're calling me, but there's jobs out there. So maybe we start there, and then the people that say, how do I customize my talent pool? I think that's talent overview. I think maybe that's what you were trying to touch on, because a customer service person, you can teach them how to sell a widget, but you can't teach somebody an attitude, or you can't teach work ethic. So I just wanted to reiterate of you saying that, because you're right on. But if I only think I have a limited talent, I mean, I think this whole panel is here to tell you that the opposite is probably true. If you have a talent in a certain area, there's probably hidden gems in your background that, people who maybe do this for a living can help you figure out what those hidden gems are.
Yeah, I would say that, the majority of people that we hire come from outside our industry.
Mhm.
And you are correct. Attitude and character.
Mhm.
We can't teach that, but we can certainly, we always invest in our people, and we'll teach skill sets that folks can take and utilize and make a very good living out of. So yeah, we're always open to talking to people with other than HVAC and air conditioning skills.
Yeah. It's true how people that are good at one thing, they don't know they're good at other things, because they're just used to. I have a lady who's actually watching this right now, and she's been doing home health forever in sales, and she just lost her job this week, and she took herself and signed up for this today, and hopefully she's seeing that there's opportunities out there, and I sent her the jobs that you sent me, Vicky. So because we can change our skills, we're better than we think we are, so brush off that little piece of coal, because you are a diamond, each one of us and each one of you, and we can do some great things. So
Jeannie,
And attitude, I think Theo's comment about attitude, this is a funny story, but it's true. Lady came in to interview for a job we had available, and she had a bathing suit cover up, and who's more professional than Ursula Fall to tell you how important that is, and brought her dog and said she hoped she didn't mind that I didn't mind for her coming to an interview because she was going to the beach. I had to take a hard line and say, I actually do mind if that's all you thought about your time applying for this job. And the night she was nice enough, and she said, well, could you just text me because I don't want to miss the beach? And I know it's kind of a funny story, but it's true. So having an attitude to going into something and a positive outlook when it's probably hard at this time to have a positive outlook is
Ouch.
3/4 of the battle. And needless to say, she didn't get the job.
May I add one thing, Jeannie, to what was said before with regard to the narrowness of how we tend to see ourselves over time. This is for somebody who is looking for a job and a little bit at a loss. It encapsulates in a practical advice situation what was said. Sometimes we can't get past how we see ourselves. And that would be a good time, as long as we want to move forward, to ask a trusted friend or somebody in whose judgment we have faith. And simply say, listen, Vicky, Theo, Michael, Jeannie, how do you see me? Where do you see my strengths? You've known me. Look for the external validation and start your job search from there.
Yeah. And tell your friends you're looking. You know, I've spoken to, I know the American Cancer Society just laid off top level people all over the country. And some of them are in here in our area. And I know it for a fact because I was their co-chairman for their walk this year. And these are top level people that have done amazing things. They have all kinds of skills, including people skills that are excellent. You know, they can do so many different things. And I've been sending jobs out to them, and we need to help each other, you know, and write letters. You know, if you're looking for a job, call up people that you know you, like Ursula said, speak to them, and speak to Ursula, speak to Vicky, speak to anybody that knows you well, and find out what your best attributes are, and then ask them for a letter of reference. Don't wait for the last minute to get these things. Be prepared. Those things are really, really important because it takes time. It takes time. Theo, should reason temper hope?
Well, I think, yes, I think that was back to my, if you don't have some reason within there, then you have a fantasy, and it's hard to really grasp a fantasy. So yes, you do have to have some reason, and you do have to temper it. But I think in tempering the hope, I think that helps you start to really put together a plan. And people feel better, I know I do, but people feel better when there's a plan in place. I equate it to, and I can assure you, I have been there in my lifetime and switching careers and doing different things, but I have, you get a feeling if there's no plan in place and you're really not sure what direction you're going. I equate it to the rowboat in the middle of the lake with one oar, and you really can't see where the shoreline is. Yeah. And until you start going to the shore, until you sort of have a vision, and that's part of the hope, but a reality of what you can do or where you can go, and steps, and start making a plan, and then start executing small steps at a time, you will start to feel better because you're making progress. Mm-hmm. And the worst feeling you can be in is feeling like I'm not making any progress. Yeah. And so that's, I think that's just a critical thing, to have hope, but also temper it with reason so that you're actually preparing to be able to execute and get to that brighter spot.
Yeah, excellent. Michael, what do you think will be the lasting benefits of COVID?
Yeah, so I think that, you know, one, just the human element. I think that all of us are going to have that attitude of gratitude, you know, as we emerge from the pandemic. have a greater appreciation for teachers, for stay-at-home parents, for local businesses and their impact on the economy and the jobs that they represent, as well as our own need for social connection and how important that is in our lives that we probably took for granted. But the other component, just from a business perspective, is I don't think we give enough consideration to the transformation that's taking place within our economy right now. We're accelerating by a number of years the digitization of our economy. And although there's been a lot of pain and sacrifice, and people are going to have to switch, jobs that create, destruction, we're going to emerge a far more productive nation. Labor productivity has been kind of a lagging metric over the last several years that frankly has held GDP back. I think we're going to see that trend eliminated and that accelerate. And so depending on what all happens in Washington, this transformation could unlock a lot of potential for long-term future growth and jobs and opportunities. So again, thinking positive, I think that's a lot of what's happening around us that right now feels painful, but has a lot of long-term benefits for us in the broader economy.
Michael, with that being said, what do you feel about all these people like that are working home?
Yeah.
Remote workers. What is your opinion on remote workers?
I'm probably more old fashioned. I like having the team here where we can kind of see and talk to each other. I think that's so good for culture. But the reality is we have to react to the pressures that we see in the marketplace. And so, right now, while before the pandemic, we didn't have anybody working from home, primarily competed locally for our talent. Now we see more and more companies willing to offer that flexibility, whether it's IT, people that are primarily data entry, analytics, marketing, allowing them to work from home for large companies that are out of state or even global. We're going to have to react to that competitive pressure. So we will likely change some of our internal policies to kind of rethink the flexibility that we offer our team and allow some to either have flex time or maybe even allow certain positions to be, permanent work from home situations. And again, I wouldn't have said that before, but I've got to react. I'd rather keep that talent than to replace and retrain somebody who's doing a good job and the productivity has been strong. So, we think that that's something that, will be a positive in the end. And from a broader perspective, when we think about even if 10 to 15% of the workforce work from home after all of this is done, the productivity that would have, by eliminating commutes and just taking cars off the highway, the quality of life impact of those families, that's a very positive impact or result in a post-pandemic world.
That also, just to jump in, that also means, Michael, that you have the opportunity to recruit somebody that does not live locally.
Exactly right.
Correct. And so potentially they're somewhere else, but can operate remotely and do that. And I know you have locations spread out over geographic area as we do. And we have people that are remotely working at another location, but they interact with everyone in our company and control everything that goes on in certain areas. So yes, the ability to expand that circle goes both ways, and it is impactful, no question about it.
Good point.
It's pretty amazing. I was listening to a gentleman the other day on the television, and he travels across country with his family in a trailer or whatever it is, mobile home. And that's what he does. He works from there. So he's taking his children across country. They can't go to school. So they're learning where they are, and they're learning about the country. And, it seems to be working well for a lot of different people. It's amazing how people adapt. And companies now I think they have learned to trust a lot of their employees, where before they would, if an employee might have said, can I work from home? That was unthinkable. Now they know that person is probably, or maybe getting more done at home because they know they have a time period, they have, a job to do, and they're getting it done. So it's very interesting how we're evolving. And Michael, you mentioned the air pollution with the cars off the road, and I've heard people say that because they're not traveling, they got their car insurance down lower. You know, there's all these different things that are going on, which are very quite interesting. Vicky, how have you changed working during 2020? What are your changes? What are you doing differently?
Ursula's laughing because she knows me well. I don't know if I'm doing anything differently. I'm looking at things differently. I think that some of that period when we were making decisions in the beginning, do we go in, do we not go in? How do we help? I mean, we were all kind of, anybody that I talked to was, let's throw something against the wall and see what sticks. I think that I've garnered more empathy a little bit. I always thought I was a bleeding heart, but looking at people with children, I have a whole new respect for educators, a whole new, oh my gosh. But seeing working parents across all income levels trying to juggle and help their kids, and then the poor teachers, I really give credit to Dr. Patton. We are so lucky to have her in our town. Can you imagine having a bomb blow up and having to figure it out? I can't imagine. I pray for those people every day, but I think I look at things differently. And I'll tell you, being in a part of town that I don't think's a lot of reality, being in the luxury market, I'm not luxury, I'm just a working schlep, but seeing our town change and seeing, you know, we all knew this was paradise, but watching some of the people that are coming to town that bring different attitudes with them. You know, I'm sorry that where you came from sucked, but this place is paradise. Like having a different attitude about it. And I don't know if all you notice this, but I do. When I go to a store, especially the local owned businesses, and somebody says, you know, you had a choice. Thank you for buying your pizza here, or thank you for coming into my store. I mean, I don't know about you, but that chokes me up. Like I want to go back and buy them presents when they say that. I'm looking at attitudes changing, and the ones that are really thankful that you did shop at their local store, or you did. I think I'm looking at things differently because of that. And I think that our employees and coworkers, they're either the sky is falling and I'm going to stay in my closet and have the sky fall. There's a few of those, not many. Or you have the ones that go, you know what, here we go. Let's roll up our sleeves. How do we get through this together? And just kind of makes you want to help more. The same thing with the not-for-profits, like the nice lady that spoke today. You can't help everybody, but you can try. So maybe we could share her website, that somebody could share her lanyards or whatever that may be. I think it's about an attitude, and we have a choice.
Yeah.
To say, okay, the sky is falling, or you know what? Aren't you glad you're in Naples or Fort Myers, Florida, and not Manhattan or whatever those cities may be? I just think it makes us be more grateful, especially at this time of year. So I don't know if I changed my work ethic. I don't think I changed it. I think I look at attitudes differently.
Do you feel like you changed then?
Oh, I know I have changed.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for health. I take care of an 88-year-old mother that many of you know. Having to hazmat suit to go visit her makes you look at things differently. I deal with people at the Arlington as a volunteer, and I go, oh my gosh, their loved ones who are going crazy. They can't see their people. I think, oh, do we know how truly blessed we are? And then how can we help somebody? It's not always about money. How can we help somebody? Just one person, you can make a difference, I think. So taking groceries to somebody that income wasn't an issue, they don't have a computer, they don't have a cell phone, that little tiny thing, like the nonprofits, how can we look at it differently, and how can we help? Yeah. And sometimes it's not about money.
Yeah, it's about people. And I think we're learning that. In the beginning of the year, I wrote a piece called God Sent the Whole World Home. And I think a lot of you have read it. To our faith and our family and stuff like that, to reassess ourselves. And I think a lot of us have done that. Ursula, how have you changed during 2020?
Where do you want to start?
Anywhere you want. The stage is yours.
Everything. Well, I'll try and be brief. I became a lot more clear about what matters, you know, coming back to how Theo started out, that really my faith is the motivating drive in my life, and that it governs what I do and who I am and how I treat others. And that's basically how I start every day. I start every day with saying, thank you, God. Show me how I can serve you today. Show me how I can assist somebody. Open my eyes to see what somebody needs me to see and how I can help. To Vicky's point, it's not always money, or most of the time it's not money. Sometimes it's as little as a smile. Sometimes it's a pat on the back. Sometimes it's just simply an attitude of, how can I help you today? Is there something I can do for you? And that's really become my driving motivation.
Sometimes simple love is the best love.
Yeah.
Theo, same question for you.
I think I would just say that obviously the level of opportunity to be grateful for small things that are positives throughout this entire journey have become larger in scope and importance. So, you know, I think it's very important to find gratitude and be grateful for things and experiences and opportunities and all the provisions that the Lord provides for us, whether it's good times or bad times. I go back to a devotion I read the other day, and the question that was posed in that is, what if you woke up tomorrow with only the things that you thanked God for today? What would your world look like?
Yeah.
Right? And so, and I think that kind of put in perspective, you know, we're called to be grateful in good times and bad, right? In all things, offer praise and thanksgiving. And now is no different. So I think that I see gratitude as being one of the main things that has sort of bumped up on my radar. I've always been a grateful person and appreciated people and being able to serve others and people that serve me in any situation. But I think that's become a heightened emotion and attitude, certainly.
Absolutely. Michael?
And I just kind of close with a similar theme. You know, one thing that I've started as a practice that I did not have as a practice pre-COVID was a gratitude journal. So every morning I just write 5 things that I'm grateful for. And, you know, one of the things that I've also tried to, you know, be grateful for are the difficulties, the challenges, the circumstances, because one, I know that I'm going to grow through that process. 2, I'm going to discover the unique position that I'm in to help our team members, the community, et cetera. And so, you know, we all kind of find that special place, to your earlier point about the gifts, you know, that we're given, where we can make a difference. And sometimes we don't discover that until we've really been kind of challenged and, you know, kind of thrown to the mat. And so, you know, gratitude for all, the good and the bad.
Exactly. I have another question I'm going to ask you all. If you knew last February what was going to happen this year, what would you do differently? Vicky, what would you do differently?
I don't know. You know, hindsight's 2020. I don't know what I would do differently. I think we do the best that we can at the time we have the information on it. I don't know if I would have done anything differently. In hindsight, I wish I would have volunteered more.
Okay.
That's the only thing. grocery thing has been a real eye opener for me, especially people who don't have computers and how do they get food, and the kids that aren't going to school.
Yeah, ouch.
I don't know if I pray and I ask for God's wisdom and direction, but I don't know if I would have done anything different. I would have stocked up on toilet paper in the beginning.
Are you one of those people?
No, I wasn't, but I didn't know what a disaster it might be. Thank God for wins, huh?
Keep it in the family, right, Michael? Michael, what would you have done differently if you known?
Because I've been asked this question before, and my answer always changes a little bit as you do more reflection. But one, I think, the importance of self-care. I would have tried to have put more things in place if I'd been able to see this coming for our leadership team, so that they were already kind of, developing those best practices, whether it's a gratitude journal or, other, kind of healthy habits, so that they'd be prepared for the roller coaster that we were going to go on. And the other thing that we have been investing in kind of afterward that kind of ties to that Vuca acronym that I mentioned earlier are kind of essential leadership skills training. The best practices in terms of, time management, in terms of, most valuable activities that you block your calendar around, that structure that allows you to pretty much navigate whatever storm is going to come at you. Had we had some of those things firmly in place and those documented best practices for our leadership team, it would have just helped us be that much more successful through the challenges.
A question, have you discovered any new leadership within your organization when things got tough? Did you find that people stepped up that you didn't know they could, and people you expected to did not?
100%. Again, the challenge reflects or reveals character, and you see kind of who those real leaders are, and they don't always have the typical titles next to their name, but you know exactly who those leaders are when times get tough.
That's pretty amazing when you get to do that. So, Theo, the same thing. Questions?
Yeah, and I would echo Michael. You definitely have people that step up. They catch the vision pretty quickly, and all of a sudden, quietly they go off and really command what they need to command and do. And so, yes, and that is true. Especially, tougher times or challenging times reveal character. They don't necessarily make the character. Character is what it is, and it comes to the forefront in challenging times, and you find people that either take shortcuts or that rise to the occasion. So as for what I would have done differently or we would have done differently, I think as an organization, if we had seen the sort of the ripcord being pulled on the economy and the lockdowns coming and things like that, we would have invested more quickly, although we had started it, but we would have invested more quickly in remote technologies for computer, access and more robust ways of doing that. We were partially there, but we did get caught a little flat-footed on that and scrambled. And we made it. And we got there, but it was more painful than it would have been had we had advance notice of a lot of that. From the standpoint of personal, I'll be honest with you, I go back to, I reflect exactly on what Vicky said, and that is the information was changing so rapidly on the day-to-day side of that. Even from morning through the afternoon, you'd hear something in the morning and then you'd hear something in the afternoon about a direction or how we should behave or the distance we should keep from somebody or what was closing down or what was staying open.
Yeah.
It came so fast and furious that you really just had to be in a reactive approach to digest it and then make the best decision at the time and try to make a step forward. And the leadership team did that. And I don't think we would have, I don't think there's a way to have changed that even with some foresight into that, with information coming at you that fast.
And you have a new development that's opening in Lee County in the middle of all this, correct? Don't you have a new building, a new
Yes,
headquarters?
we had that in the process, and ended up moving during the middle of all this and
Yeah,
doing those things. So, you know, you can't stop making progress, and we needed to make that move. It was in the works, and we were successful at making that, and that helped us in our overall game plan because it gave us the ability, size-wise especially, and buying power-wise, to stock up when manufacturers were starting to have supply chain issues. We could commit to large quantities and get in the necessary parts and service parts and equipment to keep everything going. So yes, that was a very valuable thing, and had to continue on even during the pandemic.
it must be a difficult decision for both you gentlemen because you do have to stock up on things. There's no, we don't know in the future how long it's going to last, and should you do it, and if you invest in it, you have to pay for it. So it has to be difficult decisions to forecast the needs of communities. I mean, you both are in many communities with many stores and many households that rely on what you have to offer them, that people, both these have essential needs basically. So people need those things.
And you know, immediately we did have to change the way we interfaced with our customers.
Yeah.
Right, because their expectation became, if you're coming into my house, you need to be fully protected, you know, have all the right disinfectants, have the masks, have the gloves, all those things. And you know, one of the lasting effects of this may be, I believe, that consumers may not go back to just a full total relaxation of that. I think the mindset may be a little more hygienic on everything that you do with people, and you may have to adjust some of that going forward for their comfort level.
Yeah, we have no idea. Ursula, do you want to share in there?
Couple things to be brief. When the next one hits, I think I will be able to come out of my shock a little bit faster. I think that's a learning skill too, that we can appreciate, that we have really been exposed to a strong shock, and that there's a degree of resilience that results. In our business, I can, you know, concur with what everybody says. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to our leader. Kathy Bigham is and always has been a tremendous leader. But during this time, she has just found the right balance between leadership and allowing everybody to grow to their fullest stature.
Yeah.
And the result of it is that our team is stronger than ever.
Yeah.
And in terms of using the time, it goes back to what I started out by saying. The next time we have something like this hit, we would be able to say, okay, folks, we have this project sitting, which is the conversion from one major software to another. We now have 2-3 weeks of lockdown. Here is everybody's plan, in which, and when we come back in 3 whatever weeks, we will all be ready for the full conversion. So these are the 3 things.
Well, that's
one other.
And I'm grateful for the resilience. Theo, that would be in my gratitude journal. Ursula will be a little more resilient.
I will say one other benefit, Jeannie, is no matter what project that we're tackling in the future with our team, we just automatically, hey, we conquered COVID.
We can
got
do
through
this.
COVID. How can this be any worse? So, you know, now there's no resistance to any future company project.
New t-shirts, we can do it with the world, you know. I'm just so blessed to have each one of you on the panel today. I hope our attendees that are listening right now, we have some that signed up that will be getting the video because they had to work, but they want to hear from each one of you. I think we shared a lot of really good information on a lot of different topics, and I hope we brought some good news to people, some hope and reason for 2021. I'm looking forward to 2021 because I know it's going to get better, because I think we learned about ourselves and others and so many things in 2020 that are really important. I want to thank our nonprofit. I want to thank Sue Huff at Sue Huff and Associate for sponsoring our nonprofit. I just want to remind everybody it's beyondbeads.org. If you use the discount code above 20 for a 20% discount this week. They're also offering buy 5 ornaments and get 1 free with free shipping coming soon to the items for just in time for the holidays. All that stuff that I just said, I will write it down on something for everybody. But I want to thank her for coming and sharing what her wonderful nonprofit is doing. And Penny, you're doing a great job, Miracles in Action. I want people to think about the nonprofits that we are sponsoring right now. Some of the things are little, they need help. If we can help them, those little things make a big difference. And Michael, thank you so much. I think I must have told you I loved you 10 times in the last 2 days for taking over 2 of the nonprofits that were just about in tears because you were so gracious in helping you. And each one of you helped so many people in our communities. The Above Board Chamber, as I mentioned, is looking forward to 2021. We want to thank Javier Fuller, who's in the background. You could just see his picture, I think. He helps us with our Zooms each month. And at Conrad PR Marketing, they are our superstars. They are wonderful helpers to the Above Board Chamber. And not only members, but they're annual sponsors, like a bunch of you also are. So thank you. We will be getting our meetings up very soon, the next day or 2 for 2021. We met with our executive council this week with topics for 2021 from our advisory board. We put it all together. So we have some great topics. We're going to continue to learn at the Above Board Chamber. We're going to all continue to grow together, and we're going to make Southwest Florida one of the best economies in the world. So each one of you, thank you. God bless you. And as I say at each meeting, when we come into the world, God gives us gifts. So thank you to each one of you for sharing your gifts today.
Thank you, Jeannie, and everybody.
Also want to let everybody know you will be getting a video of this in a couple of hours so you can re-listen to it. So thank you again. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Thanks, everybody.
Above Board Chamber, it's www.aboveboardchamber.com. Our phone number is 239-910-7426 if you need any information. We look forward to hearing from you. And as I said before, have a wonderful Christmas and happy holidays from the Above Board Chamber. Thank you, everyone.